Wiki. So greetings, Chairman Hurd, Ranking Member Ledger Fernandez, and members of the House Natural Resource Subcommittee on Indian and Insular Affairs. Natasui, Chairman Rodney Butler from the Mashantucket Pequot Tribe, and I'm here today as the president of NAFOA, the Native American Financial Officers Association. With over 185 member tribes, NAFOA represents the diversity of Indian country's economic landscape, including gaming, energy, agriculture, federal contracting, and so much more. Since 2021, we have worked closely with the Federal Accountability Office to better understand the challenges tribes face when accessing federal economic development and capital access programs. In consultation with our member tribes, we provided detailed feedback outlining key access barriers and recommended practical solutions. The GAO's 2024 Barrier to Access to Federal Assistance report incorporated many of NAFOA's observations, including concerns about limited agency experience, delayed or unclear guidance, administrative burdens, poor communication, and audit challenges. Building on the identification of these recurring issues, NAFOA developed a set of recommendations to improve tribal access to federal economic development programs. These included designing programs with tribes in mind, reducing administrative burdens, providing comprehensive staff training, improving communication and timeline management, providing technical assistance and capacity building, creating clear information resources, and collecting and utilizing tribal-specific data. The gap in data collection deserves special attention because it makes it difficult for tribes in Congress to evaluate whether programs are actually working and what factors are driving their results. The GAO highlighted this issue in its 2022 report analyzing tribal economic development. They examined more than $930 million in tribal-specific programs, in addition to 14 broader programs, and found that the total assistance provided to tribal entities was unknown because agencies did not analyze data to estimate it. According to the GAO, if federal agencies began estimating and reporting these obligations to tribal communities, it would give federal agencies and decision makers, such as Congress, a clearer picture of the impact of these programs and where additional support might be needed. Building successful programs also includes meaningful tribal engagement and consultation. A powerful example of how to do this effectively can be found in the Department of Treasury's Office of Tribal and Native Affairs and its partnership with the Treasury Tribal Advisory Committee known as TTAC. Through the TTAC, we have worked closely with the administration to address fundamental challenges such as delayed guidance and overreaching regulations that have long created uncertainty and stifled tribal investment. This collaborative effort recently achieved two significant milestones, in one case decades in the making, with the release of new rules and guidance resolving longstanding issues related to the general welfare exclusion and tribally chartered corporations. The effort between Treasury, OTNA, and TTAC exemplifies how federal agencies can conduct meaningful consultation that both advances policy goals and respects inherent sovereignty of tribal nations. From a legislative perspective, many of the economic development challenges facing tribal nations stem from lack of parity between tribal governments and their state and local counterparts. Congress can correct this disparity and fulfill its federal trust and treaty obligations by advancing the Tribal Tax and Investment Reform Act, introduced last Congress by Congresswoman Moore and Congressman Schweikert as H.R. 8318. This critical legislation addresses longstanding inequities by treating tribal governments the same as states for key tax purposes, including excise taxes, bond issuance, pension plans, general welfare benefits, and charitable organizations. Ending the discriminatory treatment of tribal governments by granting them full parity with state and local governments is accessing tax-exempt bond financing will enhance job creation, generate sorely needed revenue for social services, stimulate infrastructure and business development on tribal lands, and strengthen and diversify tribal economies. NAFOA and all of Indian country are eager for the reintroduction of H.R. 8318 in the House this Congress. In conclusion, federal programs and tax policy are vital tools for closing historic economic gaps in Indian country, but they only succeed when tribes can access them without facing the legacy of regulatory neglect. NAFOA remains committed to working with Congress and the administration to ensure that tribes receive clear and timely regulatory guidance, that federal coordination eases the burden on applicants, that tax policy empowers tribal economies, and that tribal finance professionals can deploy resources strategically. When federal support and policy are aligned with tribal sovereignty, we don't just foster sustainable economies, we build thriving, self-determined communities that uplift entire regions and contribute to the prosperity of this country as a whole. Katabato Yimu, thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much, Chairman Butler, for that testimony. The chair now recognizes Mr. Watchman for 5 minutes. Mr. Watchman.